What we hope to trigger through this video series is a truth-telling justice commission here for Western Australia, an independent process governed through that commission, which will allow the voices of West Australian First Nations people to be heard through a process that will be respected, understood, and taken seriously.
There should be a framework that is structured so that a series of recommendations are looked at in a very serious perspective and taken to say, well, we're not just collecting data, we're actually getting information that needs to be acted on.
Truth-telling is about being honest about where these countries come from as a way of understanding and ultimately healing on that path to reconciliation.
Truth-telling is a process of connection. Connection is a process where you do the small things, where you show up in respect.
Truth-telling is just telling the actual history of this country. That means all of it, not just, sugarcoating what is Australia, but it's telling of all the massacres, everything that happened to the Aboriginal people, things that make the general public of this nation uncomfortable.
The truth, well, you can't change the truth. It can never be altered. The truth is, like people say, there's their truth, your truth, and the truth. And you can't change the truth.
Truth-telling for me is exactly as it sounds. It's about the true history of the place in which we reside, which is here in Western Australia. When I grew up, I got a very one-sided colonial account of the history of this place.
Truth-telling really needs to start in the education system. There's still quite a lot of kids that have no idea what have happened to our people.
It's also a way for children to understand, have an understanding, and hopefully the education department be able to have an understanding of telling the truth in our schools so that children and communities can heal.
Helping others to understand the legacy and responsibility that I have for my children and for other generations, for what my children have for future generations.
I'm part of the stolen gen, so it took me 6 years to find my family. So I went through all the historical documents and the stuff I saw was pretty damn appalling.
We need to have some serious truth-telling. The West Australian government need to do something because it's just going to go on and go on and go on.
The only way that we will truly change as a community is if we all embrace the past and start to respond to what's happened in a proactive way.
How do we preserve that with truth? How do we protect that? How do we maintain the dignity of the truth of that culture and restore the dignity?
What we did was absolutely dreadful, and we acknowledge it. And we say, sorry, which we've done, but in saying sorry, we've got to do a hell of a lot more. And that's what I've been batting for all these years, of just trying to get Aboriginal people in control of their own health services, their own mental health services, their own justice services, their child protection services, and their education services and disability. Because if you have Aboriginal people in control, it works.
There's an amazing opportunity for us to do that alongside the voice and ultimately going towards treaty. And I hope here in Western Australia we can step up and actually do that now.
Now is the important time for anything to happen because it's under your watch. You cannot say we'll do this in the future, we'll do this in the past, because now is now.
It is important that in 2023, as we head towards a federal referendum on the voice to Parliament, we also require processes here in Western Australia that allow us to have truth-telling and treaty making. We need to make sure that we are laying the foundational pieces in order to make a successful referendum process.